Let's learn how to be smart with time, because the students who manage time top the class. Ready? Let's begin. Chapter 7. The Rhythm of Intentional Focus. Focus is not only about the skill of paying attention, but also the very essence of intentionality. In today's age of continuous distractions, interruptions, and invisible pressures on the mind, the ability to choose where to direct your energy has become far more valuable than intelligence, knowledge, or even time.
Focus is your multiplier. It turns intermittent efforts into unstoppable momentum. This chapter will teach you how to get back control of your focus, make your routines of intentional focus, and create a rhythm of turning distractions into discipline and discipline into freedom.
7.1. The price of scattered attention. We have been born in the most distracted era of mankind ever witnessed. It takes one click, and suddenly you can see the highlights of all the people's lives. One message, and instantly your mind is dragged from its state of profound thoughtfulness into simple responsiveness. Distractedness doesn't occur too often, it happens effortlessly. You no longer need to make efforts for becoming distracted. Just existing in the digital age is enough. But still, we underestimate the price of our distracted attention. We perceive it as a trivial nuisance. In fact, it is the toll that we pay for our creativity and peace of mind. Every time you shift your attention, your brain incurs a cognitive cost. It has to refocus, recalibrate, re-engage. This switching doesn't happen instantly. It can take minutes to regain deep focus. Multiply that across a day of texts, emails, notifications, and multitasking, and you're losing hours of potential progress, not just in time, but in mental energy. You may still get tasks done, but the quality of your work, the depth of your thinking, and the clarity of your vision suffer. And when that happens, your confidence erodes. You feel like you're working constantly but creating little. You feel tired but not accomplished. It is not only the effect of scattered concentration on your productivity, but also its effect on your very essence. In effect, you will find yourself drifting through life, becoming reactive rather than proactive in nature. You start confusing the two concepts of being busy and being in alignment with what you should be doing. There are no minutes wasted because of distraction. There is a loss of the value of your life's purpose. Focus is not some privilege, it is a skill to survive. 7.2% focus is a habit, not a trait. We often talk about focus as if it's something you either have or you don't, as if it's a trait you're born with, like height or eye color. Some people just have it, and others don't. But that's a myth. Focus is not a trait, it's a habit. It's a skill that can be learned, practiced, and strengthened over time, no matter how distracted you've been in the past. Like a muscle, the more you train it, the stronger it becomes. And the best part is, you don't need to overhaul your life to become more focused. You just need to start where you are. Everyone believes that being more focused means having tremendous amounts of discipline. However, focus is not achieved through perfection. It's created through repetition. First, you pay attention to moments when you get distracted. Then you pull yourself together. You get rid of little things that distract you. You make time for deep work. Instead of depending only on self-control, you eliminate distractors. And gradually your mind starts realizing that being focused is a norm for you, not an exception. The fact that you can focus is not something mysterious. It is merely an image of who you are and what you have cultivated in yourself. When all this comes together, you will get back your focus not because your brain has magically changed, but because your behavior has changed. Do not treat focus as an unalterable feature. Treat it as a lifestyle choice. 7.3. The myth of multitasking. While there are many misconceptions that have caused people to waste their time and lose productivity and peace, the myth of multitasking is one of those myths. In today's world where everything happens fast, people are told that to keep pace with everything, one needs to do more than one thing at once. That means answering emails while being on a call, writing reports while keeping an eye on notifications, cooking dinner while checking messages. It makes you feel very productive and efficient, but in actuality, it is nothing like that. Scientific research has proven that the human brain cannot truly focus on more than one cognitively demanding task at a time. What we call multitasking is really task switching, rapidly shifting our attention from one thing to another, and every switch comes at a cost. Your brain has to reorient. That takes energy, it drains your focus, and increases the likelihood of mistakes. It also prolongs how long tasks take, sometimes by as much as 40%. The result? You end the day exhausted, but feel like you barely moved forward. As was noted before, micromomentum is the exact opposite of multitasking. It is all about being present. There is only one thing to do at once, and there is one result. When you concentrate your attention on one goal, even for a relatively brief period, you achieve results. Your mind gets into the state of flow, your stress level drops down, and clarity emerges. And here is the irony: you manage to get things done. The next time you find yourself torn apart by conflicting interests, stop for a moment and realize that you were never meant to do everything all at once. Instead, you were made to master only one thing at a time. 7.4. Create a focus-friendly environment. While you cannot always control what is going through your mind, you do have control over your environment. Your environment affects your focus in ways that most people fail to understand. Most distractions do not originate from inside your head. Rather, they begin outside in the world around you. They come from the arrangement of your workspace, from the applications on your phone, from your web browsers, and from other such factors in your environment. If your environment is cluttered and unorganized, then so will be your focus. Therefore, creating an environment conducive to focus is not a choice, but an absolute necessity. It does not have to be sterile, but it must be deliberate. Remove anything that detracts from your ability to focus. Make sure that your visual environment is clear before embarking on any kind of creative project. Get tools that eliminate distracting notifications. Set boundaries for yourself as to when and where certain types of tasks should be completed. Sometimes even the slightest changes to your environment can make all the difference. Having an assigned workspace, having a pair of noise-cancelling headphones, an agreed-upon moment where your phone is inaccessible to you, a daily process that ensures your desk is cleared every night. These aren't just ways of increasing productivity, they are opportunities to give your brain permission to be fully engaged, settled, and produce its best work. In a world full of distractions, organizing your space becomes a matter of defense. You're defending the greatest asset you possess, the full focus of your mind. 7.5. The focus ritual. Prepare your mind for deep work. You don't become focused through luck. In a world that constantly distracts you, you have to plan your focus deliberately. and that begins with a ritual, a repeatable process that tells your mind, it's time to do some deep thinking. But a focus ritual is not just about being productive. It's also about being present. It's about leaving behind the world of distraction and moving into an environment in which your mind is totally engaged and undistracted. And by doing this ritual repeatedly, you'll create a routine that unlocks your best work. Focus rituals can be as easy as clearing your desk, closing browser windows, listening to the same music, making yourself a cup of tea, lighting a candle, or writing down your one important task for the day. All of these may appear insignificant at first sight, but with time they become cues for your mind, telling it that this is the place to create, this is the place to construct, this is the place to concentrate. Cues are loved by the brain, and when provided with cues regularly, it will give you flow. Perfection is not what we're after, rather, it's preparation. Meditation is not required in order for us to be able to concentrate. Rather, a few purposeful minutes of getting our mind into gear are sufficient. It is the process of moving from being distracted to becoming engaged. It's the trigger that lets your mind know that work mode has been engaged, and once you trigger this process on a daily basis, your mind will automatically start meeting you there. 7.6 Protect the first hour of your day. This hour of your day is the most valuable piece of property on your entire calendar. The things you do in this hour set the stage for everything else that comes after. They tell your brain how to direct its focus, how much energy to give off, and who you have chosen to be. This hour is not about answering emails or addressing demands from other people. It is about establishing focus before the chaos begins. It is about setting your own intentions before anybody else's. Most individuals waste their first hour subconsciously. They grab their phone. They read messages. They begin their day by responding rather than being proactive. By the time they get around to work, they have already lost themselves through several different channels. Concentration is not something that comes back easily. It is something that has to be safeguarded from the outset. Protecting your first hour does not necessarily involve getting out of bed at 4 in the morning or always doing everything perfectly. It involves doing the correct things consciously. Develop a simple and sacred rhythm that begins your day. This may take the form of journaling, planning out your 3 most important tasks, stretching quietly, reading for 5 minutes, or putting down one thought. Whatever fits into your life and helps you clarify your mind. When you respect your first hour, you regain your leadership. You enter your day with a sense of grounding, centering, and presence. You become the leader of the hours ahead rather than letting them lead you. One focused morning can be better than 10% unfocused ones. 7.7% Train your focus like a muscle. Just like strength training builds physical endurance, focus training builds mental endurance. And just like you wouldn't expect to lift heavy weights without warming up or conditioning over time, you can't expect to have deep, sustained focus without regular practice. The ability to concentrate for long periods is not a gift. It's a trained skill. You develop it the same way you develop any other form of resilience, by pushing a little further each time, by being consistent, and by treating setbacks as part of the growth process. Focus training starts with the intention behind it. You start small by committing to working for 15 minutes without being interrupted by anything, including phones and tabs. You increase that time to 30 minutes, then eventually to 1 hour. As you continue practicing this kind of discipline, it gets easier for you to remain in a state of deep focus without any distractions. Just like fitness, the progress is gradual but measurable. You will experience increased clarity, increased productivity within shorter times, and you will be at peace at the end of each day. Distractions will remain, but you won't fall for them anymore. Your brain will become so good at focusing that you will start craving deepness rather than dopamine. And you will start appreciating the state of flow rather than the state of frenzy. And your life, both internally and externally, will begin reflecting this shift. Focusing isn't about being perfect, it's about training. 7.8% clarity paves the way for focus. Perhaps one of the main reasons why people can't focus has nothing to do with outside distractions, but rather with lack of clarity inside them. The more ambiguous things are to us, the more urgent they become, the less we understand what really matters to us, the more everything around us starts to seem equally important. We find ourselves jumping from task to task just to check things off our list without having a clue about what we want. The thing is, clarity paves the way for focus. Clarity begins with better questions. What is the most important thing that I could be doing right now? What could help bring me closer to where I need to go? Does what I am doing have any relevance to my long-term goals? These are not merely questions to help plan. They are questions designed to clarify the focus of our actions. They take us out of chaos and put us into action. Clarifying helps avoid multitasking, as we realize that not all things deserve our attention. With clarity comes simplicity. You think more quickly. You act more decisively. You learn to say no, not because you feel guilty, but because you know it is right. No more chasing chaos, you direct energy instead. Clarity makes things simple for you, and simplicity makes your concentration even stronger. If you want to concentrate better, don't fight distractions. Make your vision clearer instead. Know what you're creating and why it's important. 7.9% no is how you say yes to everything else. For those who wish to lead a focused life, one must become a master of the word no, but not because of selfish reasons. Your time is limited. Every yes is an agreement. Every commitment is an investment of your energies into the promise you have made. If you agree to do things that will not get you closer to your goal, then you will be dissipating your focus from what really matters. The reason why most people find this difficult isn't because they lack clarity of what they want, but because they fear letting down other people, being left behind, or not doing the right things socially. Learning to say no is about safeguarding your yeses, those that really count and add to your life rather than deplete it. It is about setting boundaries around what you value and then holding those boundaries to protect your values. Saying no does not involve being rude or stubborn. It involves speaking your truth and setting boundaries to guard the areas of your life that have the most value to you. It is about using your precious resources wisely. Some of the most driven individuals on earth aren't that way because they have more self-control. It's because they've developed better filters. They have come to respect their time as if it really matters, because it truly does. So when you're being pulled in several directions at once, stop. Ask yourself, what is this going to cost me if I say yes? And remember, saying no can be an act of respect. 7.10 Shield your mind from the threats of digital distractions. Digital distractions have ceased being sporadic disruptions and have become the soundtrack of contemporary existence. Most individuals grab their cell phones numerous times daily, most of the time without even being aware that they are doing so. Social networking applications are crafted in such a way to capture your attention. Notifications are created specifically to break your concentration. Algorithms are made to provide you with an endless supply of content that is going to have your mind constantly scrolling and searching. In order to recapture this depth of concentration, you need to start protecting yourself from the digital invasion into your brain. This does not mean giving up technology. It means using technology consciously. It means getting rid of unnecessary notifications. It means deleting useless applications. It means imposing certain rules on yourself regarding your screen usage. No cell phones for the first hour of the day. No pointless scrolling during your focused time slots. No emails until you have done your most important thing. You are not powerless against your devices. You are their owner, not their servant. And when you begin to treat your mind as sacred, you'll stop allowing it to be interrupted by everything trivial. You'll choose depth over dopamine, creation over consumption, focus over fragmentation. Technology should serve your life, not sabotage it, and the moment you design your digital boundaries, you begin to reclaim your brain. 71% focus multiplies time. Focus is not only about productivity, it is also about time multiplication. When one is focused, an hour will equal to a whole day of work. An hour of focused writing is more than what one will accomplish with a whole week of unfocused drafting. 1 hour of a focused physical exercise will transform one's body. And 1 hour of a focused dialogue may save a broken relationship. Everyone thinks that they simply do not have enough time. It is not about time but focus. Everyone has a lot of time, it is just all fragmented. 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there, distractibility, changing environment. This is what makes them feel busy but not accomplishing anything. They spend their hours but not living in them. Focus changes that. It directs your mind toward the current moment. It allows you to get involved and produce something. Focused time is transformative time. It doesn't just move you forward, it makes you feel alive. And when you string together enough focused hours, your entire life begins to change. You feel more peace, more clarity, and more confidence. Not because you did more, but because you did what mattered fully. 7.12 Your attention is an investment you make every day. Each morning you have a finite amount of attention to spend for the day. It's arguably one of the most valuable and irreplaceable resources that you have. Just like your money, you can either make good use of your attention or waste it without even realizing it. The way you spend your attention will define how well you perform, how clear-minded you are, and even what kind of future you're going to have. The only thing is that we got used to wasting our attention on things which give us absolutely no value in return. In order to maintain your attention span in the long run, you have to begin treating your attention as an asset. Think about your attention as a savings account. Each time you check your email impulsively, scroll mindlessly through social media, or multitask in the middle of focused work, there's your savings at work. And while each act alone appears insignificant, at the end of the day, the overall impact turns out to be huge. What if, on the other hand, you invested your attention in something that pays off in the end? In a project of high leverage, a valuable relationship, a personal goal. It's not about needing extra hours, it's about making better investments. When you wake up every morning and ask yourself, how can I make the best investment of my attention today? You stop wasting your time and begin making investments that compound. And in the end, these investments make everything else possible. 7.13 Design a rhythm that honors your brain. Your brain isn't designed for non-stop focus. It's not a machine, it's a rhythm-driven system. It works in cycles of intensity and recovery, periods of deep engagement followed by moments of mental rest. If you try to force yourself into 8-hour marathons of productivity, you may feel like you're working hard, but in reality, your focus begins to dilute after a certain point. Sustained focus requires honoring your natural mental rhythm, not just pushing through it. That is why one of the best things to help stay focused amid the hustle is to plan your day in waves, uninterrupted work cycles interspersed with short pauses. Bursts of activity followed by periods of calm. It could be Pomodoro technique, 25 minutes of work, 5 minutes of pause, 90-minute blocks of deep work, or 2 to 3 peak concentration hours in the mornings. There are many ways how this could be done, but the idea stays the same. Focus is about recovery. You must stop seeing rest as the opposite of focus. It's the foundation of it. A well-rested brain focuses longer. A well-paced day produces better work. Hustle culture tells you to power through. Focus culture teaches you to pace with wisdom. The most productive people don't work more hours, they manage their energy better. They know that lasting output depends on one thing above all, mental rhythm. So if you want to stay focused for life, not just for a week, build your work around the rhythm of your brain. 7.14 Do not let your schedule turn into a prison. A busy schedule does not necessarily mean being focused on what really matters. On the contrary, for many individuals, the schedule turns into something that makes them anxious rather than clear-minded. Every hour planned, every minute accounted for, yet no significant things are accomplished. Why is that? The reason for such behavior is often the absence of focus. Instead, there is just the opposite. A schedule full of commitments shows how unfocused the individual is. The individual answers too many yeses to other people's demands, but does nothing in order to pursue his or her goals. Gradually, the schedule turns into a prison. In order to stay focused, your schedule needs to be crafted, not simply stuffed. It needs to reflect what is important, not just what is urgent and necessary. You need to begin with what is critical, your best contributions, your creativity sessions, your recovery time, and your strategy blocks. Only after that should you fill in everything else. Make sure there is plenty of white space in your schedule so that your mind can actually think. If you take your schedule into your own hands, you regain control over your focus. You are no longer in the hands of other people's meetings, demands, or requirements. You plan your week ahead with a purposeful mindset and create focus. And one day soon, your schedule stops being a prison and becomes a canvas for your priorities. 7.1% Focus is a decision that you make every hour. Focus is not something that you decide once and it becomes a part of your life forever. On the contrary, you have to make the decision about being focused every hour because you will have all the temptations, distractions, and challenges. Your phone will beep. Your inbox will be flooded. Your brain will start wandering somewhere else. And it's right now that you need to decide on what you will be doing, again and again. But to sustain your concentration, you need to become comfortable with the practice of returning, to recognize that you've wandered, and to make the choice to start over without regretting it. It is this quality which distinguishes those who learn how to control their attention from those who give in. not in perfection but in repetition, not in resistance but recovery. It is a muscle you can work out in micro moments of decision-making. Before doing anything else, stop for a moment to ask yourself the following question: is it the best use of my attention? At noon, reset your intentions before moving into the afternoon. Every time before you switch tabs, take a deep breath and ask yourself the following question: is it a distraction, or is it a direction? Concentration is not an on-off switch. It is a state of mind that you return to again and again. And every time you return to it, the more natural you'll make it feel. 7.16. Refocus after distraction. Distraction is an inevitable reality of the world we live in today. In even the most focused day you have ever had, something will come up that disrupts your concentration. A phone call that pops up without warning, a glitch in your computer, crying baby, or moments of self-doubt. What is the biggest mistake people usually make is to think that a disruption means that your whole day is ruined. It doesn't necessarily have to. It's not about resisting the disruption, but being prepared for it. Form routines for resetting that take just moments. A quick walk. A note in your journal. A deep breath in through your nose with your eyes closed. A short mantra like, "Now I reset." They don't distract you, they give you back precious minutes, or else you will lose even more in the process. Resetting is akin to sailing a ship. One doesn't change direction by freaking out. One changes direction calmly and methodically. The skill of being able to reset without judgment is perhaps the most important skill of our distracted age. It enables you to keep going even on a bad day. It reminds you that you're not defined by your distractions, you're defined by your resets. 717. Your energy is the gatekeeper of focus. Although the idea of focus is usually associated with the mental game of staying focused, in practice, it is supported by energy. Without the necessary physical state, you won't be able to pay attention. An undernourished brain, an exhausted brain, and a stressed brain can't be concentrated for a long time. And the reason for the lack of focus isn't a random process. It occurs when the energy runs out. Hence, one of the best ways to preserve your concentration is to keep your energy safe. So what does this mean on an actionable level? This means using food as fuel rather than a convenience. This means utilizing sleep as more of a tool to be productive rather than just a luxury. This means taking care of your body every day, not just to look good, but to think clearly. This means recognizing things that zap your energy, like certain people or places or applications, and setting up limits that respect your energy output. Energy is the guardian of your concentration. If you wish to have profound thoughts, make clear creations, and be present, you have to take care of your body as thoroughly as you look after your schedule. Otherwise, any approach or technique won't last long without it. Yet, with this foundation, everything changes. You turn into an entirely different person. A more aware, calm, and capable one who can concentrate because he or she is strong enough for it. 7.18. Purpose sustains your focus. Discipline will help you get started. Systems will provide structure for you. But it is only purpose that will sustain you when everything else is trying to divert you from your path. Purpose is what gives the emotional drive to sustained focus. It is what helps you push ahead despite all other challenges. It is the unseen flame that drives out boredom, resistance, or anything else. When you are focused on something bigger than the actual task at hand, focus is devotion. Those who lack focus don't lack capability, they lack connection. They chase results without being mission-focused. They tick off tasks, yet fail to create something that will inspire their spirit. However, once your focus is on purpose because you know who you are becoming, what you are creating, or whom you are serving, everything changes. You don't need to be motivated, you only need to be reminded. Begin by asking yourself, why does this matter to me? But not in the abstract, in the heart. Align your greatest works with your most deeply held values. Put your purpose front and center in your mind's eye. Come back to them each day, for in a distracted world, purpose is your North Star. It keeps your focus aligned forward. It gives meaning to the difficult things. It makes the everyday things significant. Purpose doesn't remove the distractions, it simply eclipses them with clarity. 7.19 Let go of the need to feel ready. Many people wait for the perfect mood before they begin. They wait until they feel ready, until their thoughts are organized, their schedule is clear, or their energy is high. But that's not how focus works. Focus doesn't need ideal conditions. It needs a beginning. You don't need to feel ready to start. You need to start to feel ready. Action precedes clarity. Motion generates momentum. And the longer you wait for ideal circumstances, the more life passes you by. Maintaining concentration entails changing one's mindset. It entails realizing that being ready is always the reward, not the prerequisite. Breakthrough moments never occur before we take action. Rather, they arise out of it. And even if your initial efforts appear messy and haphazard, you would have generated the necessary momentum to achieve clarity. The secret here is not to wait until you're confident, but to earn it. And in that precise moment, you make room for the true focus to happen, a focus which does not need to be imposed on yourself, a focus which cannot be perfect. But true focus, a focus which does not need you to climb the entire mountain right away. All you need to do is just take your next true step. And in doing so, you will find out that what you truly needed was not readiness, but action. 7.20 Make focus a way of life. Most people treat focus like a tool. Something to use only when there's a big project, a deadline, or a crisis. But the people who live with the most clarity and impact treat focus as a way of life. It's not a hat they wear, it's who they are. They've built a lifestyle that makes focus normal. Their environment supports it. Their habits protect it. Their decisions reflect it. And as a result, they don't have to fight for focus daily. They just return to it. Focusing on making your lifestyle is a process whereby you align all aspects of your life to reflect what is really important. This will involve getting rid of whatever is unnecessary, automation of repetitive things, and simplification of complex stuff. This is a process where you should be ruthless and do not be rigid. You start with leading an intentional life in the mornings. This is because you should wake up with a clear mind. You should be able to answer questions with an affirmative yes and negative no. This will see you create some habits that will help you return to the present moment. Gradually, you will realize that your life has changed for the better. You do not just practice focus. Rather, you become focused. It is this change of identity which makes you achieve results without burning yourself out. 7.21 Go back to your focus more quickly. Distractions happen. Rhythmic interruptions are a part of life. What makes you different is not that you are often distracted, but that you are able to go back to your focus even faster. The quicker you go back, the more consistent your process becomes. It is not about being perfect. It is about being resilient. Each time you recognize that you got distracted and gently return to your point of focus, you strengthen your mind. To return is a practice, a revolution, and an art form. There is no more embarrassment when it comes to the act. You make your day from broken to beautiful with one act. I don't need to reinvent the wheel. I just need to breathe once and recommit it all over again. That is what returning means, and doing so creates lasting momentum. You do not need to wait till tomorrow to begin again. You only need to visualize yourself, set a timer, and make the transition back to your flow state. It isn't about staying focused. It's about never getting lost in the first place. Once you realize this, you're on your way out of the cycle and starting something new. Summary 722. Focus is the superpower of the future. Where everything is making money off your distraction, focus is no longer an optional superpower, it's essential. It is the unique skill that makes everything else you do better. It makes your time worth something, your thinking clear, your hours count. But focus is not something that you were born with. It must be practiced, guarded, and consciously chosen again and again, in good conditions, in bad, in life. You understand that focus comes from rhythm, from systems, and from purpose. Focus is not about capability at all, but about repetition. It does not require asceticism, but rather intentionality. Focus is something you use your schedule, your surroundings, and your decisions for. In this chapter, you have not only learned to concentrate, you have learned to become a focused individual. An individual who directs their attention. An individual who lives intentionally. An individual who guards their peace because it means the world to them. Focus is not about what you demand. It is about what you make happen. And now, you are ready to make it happen in the way that it was always meant to be. Great job, everyone. Today we learned the secret. Balance. Plan your study time, enjoy your playtime, and don't waste either. Small habits today equal to big success tomorrow. Thanks for being here and paying attention. Have a productive day.